Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Master of the Covenant, breaker of the 7 seals. This is also the fire zone, the black alert section. Fire zone, the black alert section. No bullshit zone. No bullshit zone, brothers and sisters. Stop the bullshit. We're going to cover a few topics today, but the main focus is the war. Is war. See, we're told in the scriptures that, oh, son of man, if you see a war coming, you must warn the people. See? Because if they're not warned and they die because they're lack of warning, then their blood's on your hands. There's not going to be any blood on my hands, brothers. I've been warning for over 30 years. But now we're running face to face with it. Oh no, this thing in Russia that all discombobulated about, that's not the war. That's not the one. See, America's not a war. They're tangentially, but they're not in direct war with China. With Russia, not yet. But it will be very soon. Very, very soon. See? But the war that they're talking about is the war that breaks out in heaven. See, would you think heaven is, brothers and sisters, start using your brain. Okay, you got this almighty God in heaven that can do anything, that can just, according to you, he can just wipe away the universe. He just will flip a hand, right? And so therefore Satan in them has no power against him. So how in the world could there be a war in heaven? If this place in heaven where God is, all the angels, then how could it be a war there? Unless God wanted it to be a war there, because if he's the kind of God you say he is, right? He just wished Satan away. Right? He's gone. You see? So they try to make you see, that's why they don't want you to understand what's going on. They got your mind in a cloud, way out there. See, because us, they programmed us, right, 140 years ago. Negro butts rolled off the line 400 years ago. See, totally programmed with nonsense. With nonsense. Totally programmed with nonsense. None of it made any sense. None of it was real. They gave you a fantasy world, and you believe in it, and many of you still believe in it today. Christianity is a fantasy world. All these religions are fantasy worlds, all of them. None of them are real. Okay, you go in there and you read a science fiction book. You know it's science fiction because nothing in there is real. And all these things they tell you, they tell you that those things are realities. So they tell you the Christian idea, the world, about the Bible, about Jesus, about the angels, about the devil and all that. That's a whole reality, another dimension of something that you just can't see, is beyond your perception. Yet they have all this control over you. See? And that's the true reality, so they're telling you. But yet, there's nothing that they can produce in that reality to bring it into this false reality they claim is false. There's nothing they can bring into it, because they can't bring a Christian car. They can't produce a Christian car. They can't produce a Hindu fuel to run the car. Right? They can't produce Buddhist tires on the car. See? Because those things don't exist. They're fantasy. And many of you still, and they got your mind in the fantasy world, and as long as you're in the fantasy world, they can rule you. They only could rule you if they have you in the fantasy world, where you believe nothing is real. And the thing is, if the devil, what would the devil want to do? He wanted to make you think he's not real. Because if he's real, you watch out for him. He wants you to think he's not real. See, brothers and sisters, Negro butts. They program us. It took 64 years to program us. The first Negro bus came off the assembly line 40 years ago. Mind totally wiped. They're talking about brainwashing. Mind totally wiped with nonsense. Totally nonsense. All that stuff that you think you believe, you can't prove none of it. You can't bring anything to reality. You say, well, I pray and God hears me, right? Why don't you pray for something significant? Pray for $1 billion. See, don't tell me you pray for a car or you pray for a job. No, pray for own the whole damn company. Pray for $1 billion. Go big. I mean, if your father's a billionaire, you don't go to ask for a quarter, do you? You ask for, man, give me $1 million, Dad. See? Because all this is bullshit. Stop the bullshit. This war is coming. That's not fantasy. See? They tell you, see, heaven is the Middle East. That's where heaven is. The earth is the European countries. See, because Adam was made from dust earth. I'm not going to go into details about that. You need to understand Book of Revelation or angel, understand these things. But some of you don't even need that to understand, because if your mind is down to earth, then you can say, okay, then you can relate, because you know that wouldn't be something way out there beyond this sun, moon, and stars. You got angels that fly from one end of the universe to another with just wings. Come on, brother, sister. But if they tell you there's a mothership up there, see, Elijah Muhammad tell you there's a mothership up there that someone made, oh, you can't believe that. Oh, man, get out here with that shit. But you can believe an angel fly from this end of the universe in a blink of an eye with just wings. Don't you think something wrong with that, brothers and sisters? Don't you think something wrong with that way of thinking? See? Don't you think something's wrong with a God that's all-knowing, can see into the future, that's perfect and loving like you say he is, and he creates a creature called Adam, and he knows already what he's going to do before he does it, because he can see into the future. See? So he knows he's made a defective product. He knows this Adam is going to do things that's what he calls sin. He knows he's going to do it, but he made him anyway. And then when he did, he acted in the way he was created, right? Then he gets mad at him and beats his ass and then burns him up forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Now, where's the love in there? Where is the love in there? Tell me, where is the love in it? There's no love. That's maniac. That's insane. That's a schizophrenic, genocidal maniac that would do something like that. But oh, God's love. Where's love in there? Poor Adam, he was made defective. He didn't make himself according to you. And the one that made him now is going to get mad because he's defective. But he knew he was defective when he made him, because he can see what he was going to do in the future. And now he's going to beat his ass and burn him up without end for eternity. And you believe in that shit? Because that's what it is. So if that's the way that God rolls, if that's where he rolls, then we're all in trouble. You see? So, brothers and sisters, you guys start thinking. See, because heaven represents the Middle East. It says there'll be a war in heaven. And it says men's hearts will be failing, right? For fear, no, because the powers of the heavens were shaken. See, for fear of what's coming. Okay, let me put it like they said it. The men's hearts will be failing for fear of the things coming upon the earth, European countries, because the powers of the heavens are shaken. Now unpack that with your real mind instead of that fancy mind. If you understand heaven is the Middle East, see, because think about it. How can men here, remember this, heaven is way out someplace beyond our comprehension, but yet men's hearts are failing for fear because how in the hell do they know how the powers of heaven are shaken? How would they know it? How would they know the powers of heaven are shaken? How would they know that? They can't see heaven. They don't know where it is. But their hearts are failing because of fear of what's coming upon the earth, because the powers of heaven are shaken. Now, how in the hell do they know the powers of heaven are shaken? How do they know that? Unless they can see it. So that means it ain't someplace beyond comprehension. It's the Middle East. See? And that's where the war is going to start. And that's why I'm to warn you. I'm going to go into some detail here. It's to warn you. Because, see, it says me wars and rumors of wars, so you get all discombobulated about this. No, this is nothing. It's a prelude. It's like, the pot's about to boil. It's like seeing little bubbles. But it ain't boiling yet. It is heading between 12 degrees. I believe that's the boiling point. It's a prelude. It's like a warning. But the war is about to happen. And it's going to start in the Middle East. And it says men's hearts will be failing. For fear of the things coming upon the earth. Because the powers of heaven will be shaken. Now, if you understand the Middle East is the heavens, then who has power in the Middle East right now? Who is controlling the Middle East right now? The European countries, along with false Israel. That means their powers are going to be shaken, be broken. Their powers are going to be broken. And when it's broken, right, then the people, and then the European countries, right, it's going to put so much fear in them that their hearts are going to fail. Why? Why? See, I'll give you a couple of clues here. See, you have political brothers out there, you political brothers and sisters out there, you scriptural brothers and sisters out there, you philosophical brothers and sisters out there, right? You scientific brothers and sisters out there. You don't know anything if you don't understand the nature of the reality you're in. Because all that stuff don't mean a damn thing if you don't understand the reality you're in. See? If you're trying to play checkers in a chess game, you're irrelevant. You have to understand the reality that you're in to understand any of that stuff. Otherwise, like I said, you might be the best checker players in the world, but you're trying to play chess, that doesn't work. You got to understand, if the game is chess, that you got to understand how chess works, the rules and everything else. But you don't understand its reality. So since you don't understand it, then all the things you think is irrelevant. That's why you're not successful. That's why you're bumping heads against the wall. That's why you see COVID coming in. That's why you see anything. A lot of you making love with your open enemy. Because you have no idea the idea of how this reality works. It doesn't work like you think. It doesn't work on Christian principles. It works on mathematical principles, period. Now prove me I'm wrong, because everything you know is mathematics. Everything around you that's created comes in, it's mathematics. And the Europeans are ruling the world with what? Not with Christianity, not with Buddhism, not with religion. They're whooping the world's ass with mathematics, science. See, they're whooping all the religions. When they start adopting science, they start whooping all of the nations. They're still whooping them. Even Sunnism out there, right? All they can do is throw back Qurans and beat and prayer prayer beats about there's a cruise missile in them. They throw a Quran back at it. How is that working out? You see, because they had their run. They had their run for 1,000 years, and it tells you then Gog and Magog will be let loose. They even tell you that in the Quran. See. And they let loose, because it says Adam would know their own names. They would know mathematics. Anyway, now their mathematics is very weak mathematics, but it's stronger if you have no mathematics. See, you think they're math. You impressed with all the stuff they've done. This is nothing. You're impressed with all the stuff they've done because you haven't seen anything better. See, but it's like just like if you was back 100 years ago, you've been impressed with that. You're impressed with the first automobile. You're impressed with all that kind of stuff, right? Until you see this, and they said, man, that was nothing. You'd been impressed with the Roman Colosseum and the stuff the Romans were doing. That was impressive back then, but now it's nothing. And what you're about to see when we go into home, the new world is coming in, right? This is nothing. We don't want any of this. This is nothing. This is backwards. They tell you, they acknowledge that those things they call UFOs, they acknowledge that those things are real now. And they say they say a million years ahead of their technology. They can't even come close to it. And that's our technology. That's our technology. You're gonna come to understand that after a while. See. But this war, see, the thing is that I'm gonna give you some basics. Right? I'm not going to all the mathematics and everything behind it. I'm just going from this socio-political point of view, I think maybe that might characterize it. And religion plays a big part in this, right? So they all mix together. And evolution, all that stuff is mixed. It's a point behind all that stuff. It all works together. There's a point behind it, but I'm not going to show all the connections. But the thing is that this reality, this particular reality, see, it's a reality. It's not the reality. It's a reality they've created and they imprint upon your mind. And now you worship this reality and you associate with this reality which is about to be destroyed. See. But this reality was established, right, initially 500 years ago. But it came into focus like in 1948 when they established false Israel over there. And they did that for a reason. And so right now the world is evolving around that decision, you see, because they're saying that the truth is, and America's foreign policy is solely based on that principle. Because that principle that gives the preachers and the politicians, everybody cover, right? So they can relate that to that. Because if that's true, see, then they have a justification for this reality, a positive justification for it. That's why they talk about trying to knock out CRT and everything. Let me explain that. Okay. It goes something like this. The theology goes something like this. They tell you that Noah, see, you think this stuff don't mean anything. They tell you that Noah, the world was drowned, flood, and Noah came out. Noah had this son called Shem. And Noah, Shem, right, he had these other sons, but Shem was, he was corrupt. He was immoral or whatever, because he did something that was unforgivable, and so God cursed him black, because everybody was white back then. See, and they taught this religiously before so-called slavery ended. See, because they freed you because they no longer needed you, but they tell you they freed you because of slavery. That's bullshit. Stop the bullshit. Anyway, so because they don't want you to teach CRT now, but that's what they taught. See, and so he cursed, and so his seed was cursed. His seed called Ham was cursed to be slaves to the other brothers forever. And so they say Ham is us because we black. We got cursed black, nappy hair. That was a curse because to them, black is bad and nappy hair is really bad, right? They still believe that. They don't talk about it openly anymore, but that's what they was taught and that's what they believe. See? Because if you ask a little white kid asks them, where did black people come from, you'd be surprised what they would tell them, right? Because when you saw these space movies, they go all out into space and the universe. Everybody's white out there, and you might run across a black person here now and then, and they're usually stupid or corrupt or something, right? But it's just the opposite, because when they came out of Europe, everybody was black, except them. Okay, they're the minority, and they're still a minority on the planet today. Even when they made all these demons, their seed, they spread all over the world, they still are the minority. At any rate. So you got that in place. So, right? And then, right, they're saying they're the spiritual seed of Abraham. So America became their promised land. They found that was a promised land. See? So if you put those two things together, you put a lot of things, add a lot of things, those two things together, that means, because those are the two greatest crimes that they associated with these people. The genocide, the stealing of America and the genocide of its people, and the destruction of us, dragging us over and destruction of us. Those are two greatest crimes that are associated with them. But if they go by what they're telling people, that we're Ham and that America's a promised land, then they're good people because they was doing God's will. We're supposed to be slaves. So they God said we're supposed to be slaves to them, so that's no problem for them. And that's taking this land. It was, doesn't Joshua and Ben took the land? After he was given it, they had to go take it again, and they killed everybody. Read that story carefully. Because Joshua was told to take the babies by the heels and dash their head against the wall and knock their brains out. It's in the scripture. This loving God you're talking about, it's in the scripture, but it doesn't mean what you think it means. But anyway, so if he could do that, it was wrong just killing all these Indians over here. They're not even Indians anyway. That's the name they gave them because they was looking for India and they ran across this by mistake, right? So that means they're good people. They're good people. You see, and the proof is that false Israel was established. That seals the deal, because that's what the Bible says. Israel will be reestablished, so everything falls into place. You see, but what if you take it now? What if it finds out that this whole thing is built on the fact that false Israel, right, return, right? They return like the Bible says they will return, right, to their land, and God will protect them and all this kind of stuff, right? See, so and that's the cornerstone of all this other stuff. See, I can tie this knot a little better, right? But I'm just giving you the basic idea, because we don't stay here all night. That's the cornerstone. That's why you do everything to protect it, because that means that you'll see in a minute. I don't have to really tie it that tight, because when I reveal the next thing I'm about to reveal, then you understand those things clearly. So that's established. So that reality is based on that cornerstone, that they're the fourth, because all these things will come together in a second, that they're the true seed of Abraham, and so that means all those things I told you follows. So that means, and he who does, remember, he who helps Israel, bless Israel, be blessed. Who hurts Israel, be cursed. So now they helping Israel, they giving all in, they stand behind Israel, false Israel 100%. So I'm saying, so now you got a reality, and international politics and everything is based on that idea. So they hold the flag. See, we righteous people, good people. You understand? We ain't done anything wrong. They said they will come when people do all kinds of damage to you, thinking they're doing God's will. See, and that's the story. Now, what happens if you pull out that cornerstone? What if false Israel is not the true seed of Abraham, and they're destroyed? Because they can't be destroyed. See, that's part of the whole thing. This cornerstone, once established, it cannot be destroyed. God will not let his promise, it will never be destroyed. But what if it is destroyed? That means they won the real deal. That means they're not the real deal. All this other bullshit, because America wasn't the promised land, and we not Ham. So if we're not Ham, that means they're cruel, evil, genocidal maniacs that took over and raped us and beat us and tortured us for 40 years. And they come over here, they're genocidal maniacs because they stole this land and destroyed its people. You see the difference? You see the difference? See? That's why they go all in on false Israel, because if that goes down, this whole damn reality goes down. That's why it says men's hearts be failing, because they know once that go down, that means Jesus ain't coming to help them. He's coming to destroy them. Because now they know the reality that war, when they fail over there, that means that's the beginning of their end. That's the beginning of Armageddon, because that kicks off Armageddon, because they immediately go to war in the Middle East. They're going to lose, because this war, this war could start any day. Because false Israel has already said they're going to attack. They're going to attack Iran no matter what, especially if they look like they're going to close this deal for forcing them back to JCPOA. See? So they said they're going to attack any day. They already allocated money publicly. It's not secret. And they're already doing war games, doing war maneuvers and everything else. See? So when this war happens, and it's going to break out any day, once it breaks out, and America, another thing not supposed to happen, America's not supposed to, and Britain is not supposed to lose a war like that. How can you lose a war like that to Iran? See? But that ain't as bad as far as when they get kicked out, then they're going to leave false Israel isolated and under siege. And it's going to be so bad, the Bible said they're going to be eating their own children. They're going to be eating each other. That's how bad it's going to be. And then it's going to be taken down and destroyed. That's what it says. So I'm just warning you. But when that happens, it's going to send shockwaves to the world. Shockwaves to the world. The fact that false Israel destroyed, and plus that America and Britain was kicked out. And see, that's where they get in trouble with Russia, because they're going to blame Russia for helping the Iranians, and Iranians had more help than that. But I'm not going to that, right? Because some of you ain't ready for that one. But they're going to blame Russia. And that's how, because they're going to immediately go to war with Russia after they kicked out of the Middle East, immediately. And that's the war break. That's the spark. That's what ignites Armageddon. Because they're going to go to war in Europe. When they go to war in Europe, right, with Russia, NATO, or the Western Europe, right, what they call Europe or EU, they're going to turn on America. They're going to turn on America. And if you read chapter 18 very carefully in Revelation, you'll see why. Because what happens is that, see, it's all, I've been talking about this for 30 years. Right now, Germany is the most powerful country in Europe right now. It's the most successful and most powerful one. And Germany is totally dependent upon Russian oil, or their economy collapse. They're also dependent upon, when I said totally, let me back off, they're totally dependent upon German oil from Russia and from the Middle East. Right? Okay. Now, because what Biden's doing, he's trying to cut oil off and telling Europe, don't use Russian oil anymore. But America can't supply them oil. See? And so what happens is, when they go to war in the Middle East, and the Shia, Iran, and Syria, oh man, they're going to win. Okay, well, we'll see, brothers and sisters. They're going to cut Europe totally off. So Europe's going to be cut off on both sides, from the Middle East, and so no more oil from there, because the Shia has total control of Arabia, the whole 9 yards, and they're not going to get oil from Russia, and they can't get it from America, and their whole economy collapses. Right in chapter 18, the whole economy collapses overnight. So now they got a choice. See, if they want to revive and survive, they got to go on, because they can't even fight without any oil. So, and they can't get it from America, because America at that point, they're at war with Russia. They're not going to give anybody any oil, because they can say that we need oil for ourselves, and they're going to have their problem. They're going to have concerns over here in America themselves, political, civil and internal problems. That's going to be astronomical. But anyway, so only way Europe can survive, they're going to have to go along with Russia to be supplied with oil. That means they're going to turn against America in favor and fight on Russia's side. So now America will be surrounded, because that's the great betrayal I've been talking about. They're going to be surrounded on both sides. You see? And during this time, when this happens, remember, at this time, false Israel was under siege. America and Britain's thrown out, false Israel under siege. So they see this, and America's in big trouble. Over here, people are getting nervous, right? Their hearts are failing for fear, because they know that this war, right, and this coming, the war is coming to Europe, and that means it's coming to America. See? So if their hearts are failing for fear because, of America and Britain, because they said the powers of heaven is shaken. That means because they had the power in the heavens, but now they lost that power, and they're shaken. So if their hearts are filled with fear on anticipation, what will their hearts do when in reality? See, their hearts are filled with fear in anticipation of what's going to happen. But when it happens, because the thing is, they didn't say maybe coming upon earth. They know it's coming. It's clear it's coming, because at that point in time, it's going to be totally clear. For another reason I'm getting ready to tell you, it's going to be totally clear to them what this is all about. See, because 2019 was a big wake-up call, but most of you missed it. Most of you missed it because you don't know about it, because you don't know about the Abrahamic covenant. Abrahamic covenant, you need to read it. Google it. It's in the Old Testament and the New Testament, so-called Old Testament, New Testament. It says, it says his seed would be a stranger, be taken into a land not theirs, strangers, for 400 years, and be tormented, right, afflicted by the people, right, for 400 years, right, and then at the end of 4 years, God would send a plague that would kill the firstborn, which means the elderly, but pass over them. And that would be the beginning of 9 more plagues to follow, and those plagues would be totally destroy that nation. Okay? So we came over, the official date of slavery started 1619. 400 years will bring you to 2019. 2020 opened with what? With a plague that's killing the elderly, and it's passing over black people. But they always tell you, oh, it's killing. No, it wasn't. Because just Google it. The world, you want to accept what the WHO says, the World Health Organization? They published a thing a few months ago that they couldn't understand why it wasn't affecting Africa, black Africa, and it wasn't affecting Haiti. That's why he had to kill the president of Haiti, because he said he wasn't taking all that vaccine and stuff in there. And the same thing, some president in Africa, I can't remember which one it was, right? And it wasn't killing black folks over here. They say it was, but that was a big lie. They gave you percentages. Oh man, it's 90%. That means 10 people got it. Nine died, but that's 90%. Well, only 10 people got it. I'm 73 years old, and I ain't wearing your mask, and I'm not intending to wear one, right? And I don't have it. I mean, it didn't say you wouldn't get it. It said you won't die from it. See? So how you missed that one? That's right. See, the Jewish people, they knew exactly what that meant. They knew exactly because they taught that from the womb. They taught that from the womb. They knew what it meant. They didn't want you to know what it means. See, they knew that they knew exactly what that meant. That means they know at the time. That's why all of a sudden, remember, I said, they got a whole different attitude towards it. They want to give you everything. Oh, we want to give you this. We want to give you that. We're so nice to you. And we're going to have this. We're going to have that. See? Because they know exactly what that means. And pretty soon, all whites are going to know what it means. And all blacks are going to know what it means, too. But that was just the beginning. That came exactly on time. Is that a coincidence? Read it. 1619, 2019, and 2020 came in, bam, with a plague that's killing the first, they're killing the elderly. Right? Okay. So just follow that. Okay. So that sets the stage for the end times of what's, because they understand what that means. And so all these things is happening from then, because everything has changed since then, is leading up to this. Okay. So people, in other words, if you understand that, that means, that puts everything in perspective, because that means, right, that we're the true seed of Abraham, because we got the evidence, right? They're liars. That means their whole reality is crumbling. But they got to hide the fact that it's crumbling, because they can't tell you the truth, because they don't want people's minds to shatter, because that's an earthquake. You got people walking around thinking they're holy, good people. They're going to heaven, all this kind of stuff. And it's like a person that they've all their life, everybody been telling them they're beautiful. They never seen a mirror. They never seen themselves. They walk around, oh man, and they're going to act beautiful because man say, you're so beautiful. And then one day they walk to a mirror. They say, damn, oh, and they see the reality. What do you think will happen in their mind? They're ugly as hell, and they see the reality. First, they're not going to believe the mirror. And then when they realize that mirror is telling the truth, what do you think they're going to do to their mind? And that's the same thing here, because now they understand if that happens, all the other things they said would happen will follow. The destruction, the plagues, all the things, because that was the opening gamut, right? 2019, the so-called COVID thing. So that was open gamut. So all the things that proceed after that will follow. So now they're trying to be nice to you and everything else. See? To keep you from understanding the truth, because all this is about you. But they've been trying to hide from you all the time. You see? You understand? Okay, now, that's why men's hearts are, because now they know how they know things was coming, because they understand those scriptures. They understand now America's in for it, because that's the country that's going to be judged. It's going to be destroyed totally, mercilessly. See? That's why, that's the anticipation. And so now, and they know it, see, because they ain't guessing, they know that's why their hearts are failing. See, so let's put this together, let's tie this up now, okay? So, now it says, when you see the abomination of desolation, when you see that, when you see false Israel surrounded and under siege, now it's not destroyed yet, but when you see that, right, it says flee. Flee where? Just flee. Right? It says, don't go back in your house, get your baby, don't do anything. Whatever you're doing, just run. Don't go in the house and get nothing. I mean, they tell you don't go get anything. I mean, baby, you can't go anything. Say flee. Why would you flee like that? I mean, you can't be fleeing from the army and the police force like that, because first of all, they can't cover everybody in the United States, can't cover all black folks particularly. You're fleeing from your neighbors, because everybody's going to be aware of what's going on now. And so, because at the time, because if you got that little room, that little window to flee, because once false Israel going down, they're going to do that calculation immediately, and they're going to realize, that wasn't Israel. That wasn't Israel. That means that these black folks are true Israel. And that means all the hell we catch in this war. We all remember, they're already at war in Russia. They're already surrounded, and they're in trouble over there. And now they see Europe turn against America. America's getting their ass kicked over there. And they're afraid. You see how nervous they are right now. How do you think they'll be nervous when it actually happens like that? So they're going to say, we the reason. And the only way they can, because the thing is, this whole thing is to keep their mind. See, in other words, if they was told the truth back there, that would have been a mind-numbing event. And so But placing false Israel in there was to stabilize their mind, to keep them thinking that they're holy people, that everything they did was right. By placing false Israel there. See, because the thing is, okay, they was getting away with that lie for a long time, because it was ham and everything. But then this little man called Elijah came along and told him, no, you got it all wrong. Original people are black people here, they're the true seed of Abraham. He told him that. And when he started spreading that, and his message becoming more and more national, more and more people hearing it, more black folks hearing it, they had to stop that. They had to neutralize that, because the impact that would have on white people would be disastrous. Because if they see that, then they realize they are devils, right? And that they are evil, and they are hell-bound. And in their mind, that's forever and ever and ever. You understand? So they had to neutralize that. So they put false spirits up there, right, to neutralize that. And that was to save the people's minds. That was to save their sanity. Because these people actually think they're good people. That everything they did was right and nice. And they think they're good people. You see how they talk. See? Oh, America is a home of freedom, and we just and all this kind of stuff. And you even got Negro butts, right, writing books that we wasn't even slaves. We came over here on a visa. I mean, you got Negro butts writing that kind of stuff. We came on a visa, but we were so troublesome they had to incarcerate us. Oh boy, it's sad. Anyway, I hope you understand what's going on here. So that was an attempt to stabilize their minds. But when false Israel goes down, that's taken away. It's a total shock, and in an instant they made that calculation that you the true seed of Abraham, and you the reason why they catching all this hell, and they're gonna come in and kill you. That's what it's trying to tell you, and that's what I'm trying to warn you against, because there's gonna be total chaos here. See, and then we're talking about first they're talking about abortion. If you go back and read another part of the scripture, they're talking about abortion. They said throw into the river. You need to understand the angel key to understand that, right? But the thing is that's war. So here the government comes in, and you being wiped out. Some of you didn't flee because you didn't know any better, or you didn't hear it. That's why I said my people are lost because of lack of knowledge. Because I'm telling you, and I'm going to have a larger platform. It says this gospel we're preaching all the world, then the end will come. So I'm going to have a larger platform to reach more and more people, right? But some just ain't going to believe, and some love. There's so much of Negro butts that they're going to stay with Master no matter what. I'm not talking about the demons. Master seed, black-faced seed. I'm talking about the Negro butts that they totally so programmed that they ain't gonna get it. See, so they don't think that these people would do anything like that. Though they showed them for 100 years. I mean, what else do you need? So what happens is that some flee, some make it, some didn't flee fast enough, right? And some of them, right, they getting their throat cut, but the government moves in real fast and captures as many as they can, right, before they totally annihilate it. And their thing, the government's going to say, they're doing it for your protection because the whole American public is out to kill you. That's the government's going to move in and tell you they're doing it for your protection. So they're going to grab you all and put you in concentration camps. Oh, they won't do that. They did to the Japanese in World War II. Remember, America going to be in total panic. Men's hearts failing for fear. How you think they're going to be reacting when their hearts are failing, anticipation, but now they're in it. And these are paranoid people. What do you think they're going to be doing? And they're in trouble. See? And now you know the truth, or you're supposed to have some idea of the truth, and so you want to get the hell away from them because that's their war. Why in the hell you want to fight? You want to help fight your enemy's war. That's wars they created. And now you want to go out there and help fight their war. Get your hair blown off, but people don't give a damn about you. But anyway, so what they're going to gather you up and say he's doing it for your protection, put you in concentration camp, saying doing it for your protection. Brothers and sisters, ooh, I wish you could see it clear as I see it. But and then they're going to say, they're going to promise you everything. See, first of all, your back's against the wall, you're in a concentration camp, you're nervous, you're scared. And they're going to give you all promises. See, oh man, we got to go through this war, and if you help us in this war, because they don't have millions of you in the concentration camp, if you help us out in this war, right, we're going to give you reparations, we're going to give you all that crap Farrakhan talking about 6 days, we're going to give you everything you want, just help us out in this war, because they're going to be getting their ass kicked over there. And they're going to need all the help they can get. And they're going to try to get all these black men and women to go over there and help fight. They mean throw you in the river. And you ain't never coming back. See? They're going to have you over there, right? Because they're going to promise you everything to get you to do it. See? So we're going to have all these black that escape, and they're together in a certain region of the country, right? They're staying together. They're working together, but there's going to be demons with them. So that's another issue I'm not going to go into right here, because that's a division that's going to be resolved. But those that gather together, especially around this message, they're in one part of the country. Then you got those that's in a concentration camp, and you got those that's dead, got their head throats cut. See, so we forget about them, they're gone. But you got those concentration camps that they talking them into saying, because that's just the Japanese. They put them in a concentration camp, and then got here, their sons go and fight, help them fight the Japanese. Ain't that a dog? I had something else to say, but I'm trying to curb my language, brothers and sisters. Because I tell you, what's going to happen right now, it deserves a whole lot of four-letter words. Because this ain't nothing. This is nothing to play with. And I'm warning you. So, and they're going to tell them, they're going to promise everything. They used to help us fight this war. A war they're losing. And they're going to go over there and they're going to be ass kicked. America going to be, and the thing is, remember, the Europeans now, they're turning against each other. Because this is a European war. The war of Armageddon is a European war. The war of Armageddon, say it again, the war of Armageddon is a European war. And the Quran says, at that time, they make some of them surge against others. And then hell will be clearly exposed to view. This is a European war. But think about it. The Europeans control everything. They're Adam. They control everything, right? But when they start fighting against each other, they say, house divided cannot stand. You better read and say it more carefully. Because Jesus said he came in vision. He don't come with, he divides them against each other. So now, they're superpower. But they're using all their power on each other. That means they're destroying their own, they're destroying their ships, they're destroying their armies, right? They're destroying their navies, they're destroying their equipment, their planes, their tanks, they're destroying it. So now they're becoming weaker and weaker. As the more they fight, the weaker they become. So who profits from that? China and India. That's the goat in Daniel. And it says, once they're weak enough, then China and India makes their move. They first take out Britain, they take them out, wipe them out, and then they come and attack America from the West Coast. See? They lay siege to America, because America's bogged, first of all, America doesn't have power to resist them, plus they still bogged down over there in Europe. And it's total turmoil here in America. America's going to be in total turmoil, because you're going to have, right, blacks going to be rioting in those concentration camps, right? You got a war against the Jews in the country, because now they hate Jews. They always hated them. But they use them to keep up this lie about the true seed Abraham. That their spirits, I told you the reason why they set them up. But they don't need them anymore. And now they're going to blame them for all this trouble. Because if you had, because they know they was lying. But the general public, evangelicals and everything, say, we were supporting you, and you was lying. You was no good. You wasn't the truth to begin with. You was just lying, and now we're catching all this hell because of you and these blacks over here. Because of you. Because if we had knew that you was false, then we would have treated these blacks better, which is a lie. But that's what they're going to be saying. So there's going to be a war on Jews in this country. You don't want to be a Jew in this country when it happens during that time. See, and the Jews, they're everywhere. They have a lot of controls. That's going to be a battle within itself. Right? You have an economic battle, right? A social battle, because they're all over the place. They got control of most of everything. See? And said all foreigners, if you're a foreigner and you're found in this country, you're going to be cut through. See? And then you got the demons, the demon plague. So it's a lot of, this country's going to be in turmoil. It said there's sword within and sword without. See? And that's the nature, that's what the climate's going to be like. You see? So you're going to have those. They escaped, they fled and escaped. They're all together. See? And that's the harvest. They're all together. But the demons going to be with them too. They have to just weed it out once they're thrown out. Because remember, they're fleeing too. But we don't want them. Because once we come together, we're going to weed them out. And that's why I said, at the harvest come together, you bring them all together, and then you weed out the chaff, and you throw it back. And because it's going to be a battle between us and them. Because they skin folks. They ain't kin folks. They don't fool me. He said, Jesus went to war with them first. So they thrown out. See? And now they tearing this country apart. See? And they're going to try to get into those concentration camps, let those people out. So it's going to be total chaos here and total chaos over there. And now America is invaded. And it says when it gets invaded, right, it says that the Chinese and Indians will have no mercy. They said, remember, during this time now, all this time, you will have no food distribution. The stores will be empty, right? People are going to be starving. People will be fighting over whatever food there is. You have total chaos in America. And whatever food there is, the government's going to take and seize it for its military, and whatever's fuel, because you don't have any fuel, they're going to seize it for them because they're in total war. Not a nuclear war. There will not be a nuclear war, brothers and sisters. There will not be a nuclear war. But America will be nuked, but it won't be a nuclear war. Because the Chinese, and it says when the Chinese and Indians exit, they're going to burn this country down totally. They're going to make sure if you hide in a bunker or whatever, you're going to get burned up. It says America will be burned up to a crisp. But it won't be a nuclear war. And they're just going to burn this country up. And they're going to take all the healthy people they could find, and they're going to take them into eternal slavery. But it says that all during this time, there's not going to be food. The weather's going to be terrible. It's hot one day, extremely hot one day, extremely cold. There's no food. And it says that the Chinese and Indians, what they're going to do is they're not going to just come in and just take you. They're going to seize everything, stop all this, make sure, and whatever distribution is, they're going to stop it all. And the civilian won't have anything. And they're going to lay siege to the country, and they're going to just sit back. See? They're going to laugh at you. They're going to sit back and laugh at you because they know you can't do anything, and so you're starving, and they're going to let that go along a while until you get so bad you'll be eating your own children. It says, in Scripture says, a woman that's about to give birth, she will do it in silence, secretly in silence. Read it. It's in the Scripture. She'll do it because she wants to eat that baby once it's born. That's what it says in Scripture. I'm not making this up. She don't want a husband or about nobody because she want to eat that baby all by herself. That's how bad it's going to be in America. And you want to be here? If you love these devils so much, then you will be here with them. You will be them with them. You will love their names, their brands they put on you. You love all that stuff. Then you will be with you. You go down with them. We don't care. You think you hurting us by doing that stuff? We only want the best to leave out here. If there's only one person, that'll be enough. Remember in Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Only one person. This is family. It was millions of people up in there. God didn't care about them. It's Noah. It's only 9 people. So don't think that you're hurting anybody by being ignorant and stupid. You're just going to drown or you're going to burn up if you love them so much. Right after all they did to us. See? So, but it's enough for me to warn you so you know that you were told. That's the way the war is happening. That's the way it's going to break down. See? That's where it's going to break down. And I can go further all the way to when this whole thing's resolved, because after that, then China and India and Africa, Africa's going to break down into two sections. It's going to be Islamic Africa and non-Islamic Africa, right? So that's another story that happens beyond after Armageddon. Because Armageddon is the war in Europe. That's what Armageddon is. It's the war in Europe. And it's going to be a devastating war, terrible war. See? And it's break all Europeans down. See? And like in America, it's going to be so bad that children will be, that's why I said in the Quran, children will be gray-headed, because they'll be afraid to stay with their parents, because their parents will eat them. So they'll be roaming the streets, and they'll be like little children bands, sticking together, looking for anybody they can eat. And when they can't find anybody, they're going to start eating with each other. And it's going to be, that's why I said time of unprecedented trouble. That's what you got to look forward to. And we're not talking about 2023 either. See, the opening door, the opening scene was in 2020. See? And now you see it's getting warmer and warmer over there. How I've been warning you. But it says no one knows the day or hour but Master Muhammad himself. See, I don't know. I know. I'm pretty sure I know the year, this year, but I can't tell you exactly when. If I did, I would, because well, anyway, I'll leave that alone. See, but he's the one that's going to unite with that war in the middle. He says Michael and his angels. Michael's fraud, and his angels go to war with the dragon and his angels. That's his America. That's Gog and Magog, false Israel, and the Sunnis' house of Assad. I've been saying oh man, you tell me that the Sunnis, man, they're going to be helping Israel? I've been saying for 30 years now what's happening over there now. So-called Abraham Accords, and they're working with them, and they're signing agreements and everything. I've been saying for 30 years, now you see it. See? because they have a vested interest in us not being a seed of Abraham too. They down with that whole bullshit about false Israel. They down with that. They just don't want them to take their land. But they down with that too because they said on our land. They don't want us coming back. And you got Farrakhan, man, worshiping them because he's been paid off by them to stop that talk about Abrahamic covenant. That's what Master Muhammad came. Abrahamic covenant. That's where he came. That was the whole purpose of coming here. And that's where Elijah Muhammad's whole purpose of 40-some years talking about us going back home. See? And Farrakhan said, we ain't going nowhere. He calling them a liar in all the works because they paid that liar off to stop that talk because he's a son of perdition and he's a demon. His father's the devil. He's paid off to stop you from thinking that way because they don't want you coming back over there. They're on board. All the nations are against you, brothers and sisters. I have plenty of presentations out there to explain that, right? For you people on the audio, I have plenty of presentations out there, right, that explain all of this. You understand? So I'm not going to do it here. But stop the bullshit. Stop the bullshit. Start thinking. God is love. Maybe God is love, but not the God they believe in. And you think that Jesus, the one that you claim you believe in, you think he signed off on all this shit they did? Killing all these people? Raping and murdering us? You think he signed up on all that? You think these people know Jesus? They say you know him by their works. Jesus said, no, your father's the devil. Your works you will do. What works have they done? They said they would go out stealing, killing, and destroy. So what have they done? They stole all these people's lands, Australia, every place else, and Canada, and they killed all their brethren, and they destroyed us. Brother, stop the bullshit. Get out start using your head, because your life depends on it. Because you ain't seen anything like that about to happen. And I know some of you may have had some little experience from the Vietnam War. That was nothing. It's very few of you probably. I don't think anybody listening had any experience about World War II, and that was nothing because it didn't hit America directly. But this is coming home, because as you have done, so shall be done to you. And it reads about Babylon, said, do double. All the shit that they've been doing for the last 500 years, consequence. It says, you reap what you sow. Every action has opposite but equal reaction. That's justice, right? That means everything they did is going to come on them. 500 years of evil is going to come on them in 1 year. Can you imagine that? All the evil they've done in 500 years is going to come on them in 1 year. You're going to compress that in 1 year. Can you imagine that? And that's the tribulation too. That's tribulation period. Well, a lot of people are going to be lost in it because it says only those that wake up in time is going to be delivered. Everyone in the Lamb's Book of Life, is that Farrakhan? He has a book of life. The Souths have a book of life. These preachers have a book of life. So those whose name in the Lamb's Book of Life, those only ones that listen to this message and get on board, those are the ones that are going to get out of here. They're going to miss it. As the Quran says, they will hear the faintest sound of the raging ruins of hell. See, they'll be in their fortress, but you want to keep playing these games. You're going to be in it. And some of you are going to be into your destruction because you'll be delivered after the tribulation, right? But that's only if you meet the standard. And if you ain't meet the standard, you're not going to be delivered then. See? So you see a handwriting on the wall. If you get discombobulated right now, what's going on right now, then you're really going to be messed up when the real deal happens later on in the year. But this ain't it. So you can take or leave it. I'm telling you, calm down, because I'm be at the gym. I be different places. Hey, man, people that never talk to me. I see them, right? Man, what you think about this war? They're nervous. I'm getting all kind of emails and stuff, texts, for people I've been knowing and stuff that, that really I never hear from. Hey, brother, because they know I be talking about these type of things. What you think about this war? I said, calm down, brother. This ain't it. See, you remember what? I think was that last year this time? When they had that big old showdown in the Middle East with they was hitting Israel, false Israel, all those rockets and everything. Was that last year this time? And everybody thought that was it. I said, that's not it. That ain't it. See? That ain't it. It ain't it yet. See? That ain't it. But it's about to be it. And that's why it says, I got to warn you. It says, if you see war coming and you don't warn the people, then their blood's in your hands. So I'm warning you because I'm telling you, it's here now. But this ain't it. This thing with Russia, this ain't it. It's just a prelude. See, but it ain't it. So you can just calm down. But instead of calming down and going and watch NBA and NFL, you need to be, getting your mind ready. Because this thing will come hit you like a shock wave if you ain't ready. And it's going to destroy, like I said, men's hearts will be failing for fear those things come upon the earth. Because they know justice is coming, hell is coming. Hell is coming. All this shit they've been doing now is clear. See, they're the evil ones. And all that bullshit they've been BSing themselves with, oh man, we good, we holy, we're spiritual Abraham, all that kind of stuff. And they know that's all bullshit, and they know that they're coming for the destruction is nigh. And you're the reason for it. You're the reason for it. See? And the only way they can get peace of mind and get their mind stabilized, if they eradicate you. Because if they eradicate us, that means there's no contenders for who's seed Abraham. There's no contenders after that because it's just them. So that means that stabilized their mind. So because the false Israel, they're gone, and we're gone. So they must be. That resets their mind back and put their mind at ease. That means they got to wipe you out to get their mind back at ease. Because they're going to be hysterical. They're going to be hysterical when they see false Israel go down. Listen to these evangelicals. They so giddy. Oh, man, they can't wait for this war to come because they think they're going to take down, they're going to take, false Israel is going to be on the siege, but then Jesus is going to come at the last minute and save them, and it's going to wipe out all the Muslims over there, and it's going to get rid of us eventually and everything else. They're giddy about it because they know it has to happen that way. Because if it don't happen that way, what is the alternative? So they're more than giddy. I don't know what word to use, but they like, oh man, see, they need that. And when that doesn't happen that way, and false Israel go down, then that was a big lie, and they have to know that you're the true seed of Abraham, and then their whole mind is shaken. Their mind is totally shaken. That's why it says in the sixth seal, a great wind came, right? See, their mind's totally shaken in the middle. They go crazy. It's like that person see his real self after being told he was beautiful all these years. Their mind will be shaken immediately, and you will be the reason why. And these people will take you out. They will come by and next door and blow your head off. Knock on the door, bam, oh, they blew mama's head off, bam, oh, they blew dad's head off, oh, whoop, they just cut my throat. Brothers and sisters, okay, I told you. It's a time of unprecedented trouble. See? And all this stuff, they're trying to be nice and everything right now because they need you. And they're going to really nice when the war stops, like those that they get in the concentration camp, they're going to promise you everything. Oh, man, have you just helped us in this war? Millions they're going to have up in these, millions. Sisters and brothers, because they can, they're going to send the sisters over there too. And they're desperate. These people are cowards by nature. They're talking about the home of the brave, land of the free. First of all, it wasn't nothing brave about what they was doing, and it sure wasn't the land of the free. They're natural cowards. And they're going to put anybody, they put their mom out there to save their ass. And nothing's going to work. And everybody they thought was their friends is going to turn against them. False Israel is going to be no more. Right? And then, like I said, the EU and so-called NATO are going to turn on them. See? And they think Japan, what do you think Japan's going to do? Japan's over there right next to China. America's at war, being torn apart. False Israel just went down. And here China's the major superpower in the world. And you think Japan's going to go up against them? No, they're going to say, hey, man, we're going to go with you. And they're going to come over here with them. The Philippines, all of them, they're going to be with China. See? America's going to be alone. It says all their love is going to abandon them. That's what the scriptures say. Be all alone. And if you hear when they come, and you think, oh man, the Chinese men, they ain't gonna mess with the black folks because they suffer so much. You think so? Hey, wasn't you president in Korea? Wasn't you president in Vietnam, helping fight massive battles? Dumbass. I was there too. I was a dumbass just like the rest of you. I was over there in Vietnam too. I ain't know any better either. See? Because I didn't get the memo. But when I got the memo, I got my ass out of there. That I've always told that story. Once I got the memo, I got my ass out of there, right? See, so I'm trying to give you the memo now. But you can't go up to my, oh man, no, because they remember you was over there kicking ass. You was over there kicking Chinese ass, Japanese ass, Vietnamese ass, Korean ass. They ain't forgot you. Brothers and sisters, war's on the way. I'm warning you. And if you get this message, share it with your other, I mean, look, they don't have to believe it. What's wrong with having that knowledge? Because if everything I'm saying is wrong, you're going to take it 20 years to find out. You'll find out by the end of this year. So that means it's not skin off your back, is it? But if I say it's right, that might save your life. Because now you know what to look for. And I'm going to make it very clear for you. When you see the abomination of desolation stand in a place that it should not be, that means destruction is nigh. That means flee. That means false Israel over there. They pretend to be something they're not. They're over there, and it says, it goes first, so when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, that means it's talking about there. It's talking about this place is going to take place over there. And what else you need, brothers and sisters? This thing was going to kick off Armageddon. Was going to kick off the tribulation. Going to kick off all of that. It says when you see Israel surrounded by armies, right? Know that desolation is nigh, and that's when flee. That means that's a signal that this is in and the time to make your move. So I'm just telling you. So that means it's not going to be over in Ukraine. It's not going to be in Russia. It's going to be in Jerusalem, over in the Middle East. They mention it by name. We see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. That's the one that you need to be looking for. That's the one you need to flee on. See? Because they're about to be taken out. So the war is going to take place. That's where the spark is, not this stuff over in Ukraine. So I hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So I think I'm kind of like, leave it there. Like I said, if you get this information, and you get this information, whether you believe it or not, pass it on. Right? Pass it on to, right? So they can laugh at it or whatever. See? I don't care. They can laugh all they want to. But the point is, I want them to have information because, when a deer is caught, like I said, they said deer's caught in the headlights, I think something like that, right? What happens is the deer is in the road and it sees the lights coming. But see, it puts fear in them. See, your mind doesn't experience fear. It's your heart that experiences fear. It's your mind don't experience fear, your heart experiences fear. And when your heart gets fear, and this fear, sometimes it paralyzes it. Sometimes it paralyzes it. In fact, almost all the time it paralyzes it. But what happens is then it looks to the mind to see what the hell I should do. See, then it communicates. See, most of us in the mind, in the heart zone. So we block everything going to the mind because that's why we believe in this religion and everything else, because all that stuff is based on your emotions. All these religion, everything is based on your emotions, all of it. See, on your heart zone. But now when your heart freezes, then you want some reality. You want reality. You don't want no promise. You don't want no prayer. You want reality. How am I save my ass? See, so then you communicate with it. Then you listen to the mind. And you look for the mind to give you information, tell you what to do. You see? And that's why we put this information out there. So that's what happened to that deer. So he ended up, if the mind doesn't have an answer, then he's roadkill. That's why it says you have to warn the people when you see war coming. So their mind will have the information, so when their heart is paralyzed, right? Then their mind will have an answer to tell them what to do. And that's what happens. So just put this information out there, brothers and sisters. If nothing ever happens, there's nothing to worry about it. But if it does happen, when fear is going to great fear came upon them, because you're going to be in fear. When this war goes down, you're going to be in fear. Everybody in this country, everybody in the world is going to be under fear. But you're going to need the knowledge to know what to do in it. And they won't. So I'm giving you the knowledge. So you can accept or reject it. But if you heard it, just store it in the back of your mind someplace. See? So when your heart gets fear and it looks to your mind have an answer. Tell you to get the hell out of there. Because if the mind doesn't send back an answer, then you're just going to stay there and you're going to be roadkill. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay. And as far as audio, people from excuse me, from the fire zone, right? Okay, for you, For you, excuse me, brothers and sisters, I got this little cough. Okay, brothers and sisters. For you, brothers and sisters in the fire zone, okay, black alert out. Okay, and for you video brothers and sisters, hope you understand. It's a warning. War's on the horizon. This is just a warm-up. This is just a warm-up. This thing with war, Russia. See, they get nervous. They get nervous about this. Which thing they're going to do when the real deal comes? But again, there will be no nuclear war. So don't let anybody get you upset about that one. I'm showing that picture there because that's when it's going to be. America going to be nuked. But it's different between a nuclear war. It's going to drop. You wouldn't call Japan a nuclear war because they wasn't fighting back with nuclear weapons, right? So it was a nuclear holocaust. Something I said, or nuclear genocide, but it was a nuclear war. See. Because it's not a fight if you're not fighting back. If you got one person beating another person ain't responding, that's not a fight. That's just a knockdown. Knockdown, drag out. So America will be nuked. So nobody will live here for 1,000 years. So the only thing will be living here will be owls. So America will be totally destroyed. So it'll be burned as an oven. Because this place is totally filthy. It's totally messed up. And we're going to burn all up, every iota. We don't want nothing left of it. No trace of it at all. The only people that's going to come out here is the one they take into slavery. And they're going to go into total slavery, worse than they took us, perpetually. They ain't never coming out of it. See, we had hope. They have none. See. So that would be Armageddon. Then after Armageddon, you got another war. That's the one they talk about Noah's flood. See, those things never happened in the past. We don't need to go there. See, because once we get home, that's a whole nother situation. That's another type of war that's going to take place. Because once we get home, we're going to have to kick some ass to get everything back. We're going to have to take everything they took from us, we're taking it all back. We're taking it all back because all of it belongs to us, all of it. Everything they started taking away from us 50,000 years ago, they took everything. They took our life. They took our humility. They took our everything, our minds. They took everything away from us. They left us a hollow shell. They turned us into Negro butts. That you program and just tell them what to do and they do it. That's what it turns into. Lifeless figures, right? That had no value other than doing what Master told them to do. That's it to the people that created them, that created heavens and earth. That's what they did. They won't do that shit no more. Because once we finish them, and all the nations see how we deal with people that dealt with us like that, no one would even dare mess with us, especially our women. Oh man, I don't even want to go in there because our women was these our sisters, and you putting them down. I saw some Negro butt at the gym that he got his little, Caucasian. I knew something wrong when he started going to the gym. I knew something more about that dude. I never spoke to him. Then when they bring him around, then they want to. They want to acknowledge you. Hey, how you doing? All that kind of stuff. Because he never spoken before, but now he wants to speak because they want confirmation that, hey man, I got this white girl here, man. See, I ignore them, right? Give them no, right? See, and I saw another one yesterday. He in there, and you see them laughing more and more. So either they're demons or total fools, because these sisters are the only reason why there's any brothers left anyway. Because it was a master was turns us all into demons. His seed, we couldn't even touch a woman unless he gave permission. And these sisters had to fight. In other words, the sleep with your great grandfather and your grandfather, they had to sneak and do it, unless it was like one of those slave, what do they call it? They used to take one slave that was real strong and slave breeding thing. But for the most part, because it says half of the black folks in America, out of 34 million, half of them are demons. Half of them are slave master children. Those ones you see on TV and in the news and politics and everything else, because they're in master's house. That's how bad it got. See? And then they want to badmouth these sisters and stuff. These sisters had a battle with master and all that kind of stuff. They was the warriors, right? While it's our job. It's always been our job, right? To give security, to protect them, secure them, right? To love them, right? And we didn't do any of that. In fact, and many times we help master rape them. Hey, nigga, come over here, help hold legs. And these sisters had to fight all that. And a lot of them died because they were trying to protect us. Right? And if master found that the child she had was one of our children, not his, she might even get killed. Unless he gave her permission to do that. These sisters fought, and the only reason we're alive today because those sisters have stood up and fought master toe to toe all the way. They had to do all kinds of thinking, way to get around and figure out how to deal with master and everything else. For us to be here, otherwise it would all be demons now. And these fools, as soon as they get 2 nickels they can rub together, they step over 1 million sisters to find one of them skanks. See, that's not going to be tolerated. When you walk up, because it's going to be a judgment. You walk up in judgment, you one of those Negro butts. Don't even waste your time. Don't even show up. Just go out and blow your brains out or go whatever, because that's not going to work. See, because if you down hurting these sisters, I ain't talking about these demon ones. I don't care about them. But if you down bad mindset and you want to step over them to get one of these skanks and everything, ooh, and especially you walk up there with one on your arm, brothers and sisters, it's terrible what they've done to us. But you better start thinking, brothers and sisters. I'm going to leave it there. Assalamu alaikum.